Welcome back to the Full Force Fathers Podcast, Dave, episode number 49. How are you doing today?
And terrific. We are recording this on Sunday, and last night was one of my favorite nights of the year. I look forward to it every year, and there's only been a few of them that I've been able to partake in thanks to COVID and then the wokeness of our culture. But last night was the Sweetheart Dance at Kendall's school, and I just had an amazing time. Super excited. I got to see Kendall all dressed up, and she wanted me to wear a tie, so we went out to her dance and had a heck of a time. It's the only time I really dance at an event is when I'm with my daughter, and had a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, those daddy-daughter dances are the best. I mean, we actually got to do one together. Remember that? That one year we got to do one together, which was pretty cool. And, anyone that knows, Dave and I used to live in the same neighborhood in Arizona, and Painted Sky, the elementary school, used to put on the best daddy-daughter dance. And then COVID hit and they ruined everything. But that's a topic for another day. So, yeah, we did one year. I forgot what year it was. Maybe it was 2019, maybe 20 right because COVID hit. Yeah, it might have been 2020, February of 2020, I think.
Yep. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to be a part of that together. That was great. And then last night was awesome. I got to meet one of Kendall's friends' dads, and then there was one of our neighbors was there as well. So I knew a couple people in the building, but it's still weird when you go places and you don't know anybody at all. It's kind of strange, but we had a good time, just her and I. It was awesome.
Was it big? Was there a lot of people there? Was the whole school? Was it certain grades? What was it? Give me a guess.
There was a lot of people. A lot of people. It was in the gym. They did a nice job decorating for it. And it was all grades from, I think it was even kindergarten all the way up through fifth grade, which is the elementary school that they're at. It was great. There was a lot of people. Some dads had multiple kids there, like, you have done in the past, multiple girls. And it was bouncing the whole time. It was a couple hours. It was a good time.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So today
I even learned how to wobble. I didn't know that was a thing, but learned how to wobble.
What's wobble?
It's a dance. I don't know. The DJ taught everybody how to wobble.
For those that
I'm
are
not
watching
going to do it because
on
it's completely embarrassing, but we had fun.
Why don't you show our viewers on YouTube what a wobble is?
Yeah, you got to wobble a little bit, and then you got to bicycle a little bit, and then you got to do like a little stuff with your feet too. But it was cool. It's fun.
Well, there you go. Everyone now has witnessed Dave dance. Congratulations. So anyways, we are on episode 49 today, which means we are 1 week closer to the 1 year anniversary mark of our Full Force Fathers podcast. And it's just amazing. But to jump into episode 49, we always, as usual, go with our famous number. And famous number 49, there is a theme here. It is very much pitcher-centric, Major League Baseball pitcher-centric. And this is, I mean, we don't need to argue about this. This is a low seed. This is not that great of a list. But I'll kick it off because of our hatred for the same team, the Yankees. But Ron Guidry, who pitched for the Yankees, was a 4-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time World Series champion with the Yankees. Also, Lee Smith, who is a Hall of Fame pitcher, 7-time All-Star, and he led the league in saves 4 times. Now, one thing I've noticed, Dave, and maybe you've noticed this too, but going through this list, I didn't realize how many great closers there were in baseball. Like, I didn't think closers were a thing until like 2000. Apparently, I was dead wrong because there was closers back in the 80s. Like, I literally, like, I thought Mariano Rivera was the first closer. Like, I really did. And then all of a sudden, now you go back and you see all these closers. Like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. I mean, I always remember watching Red Sox games, growing up, and I remember Orsillo and Jerry Remy talking about how pitchers back in the day used to just pitch complete games all the time. They just go out and pitch complete games. So I guess that's the assumption I had too, is that pitchers just went out and pitched complete games. But this list is proof that wasn't always the case.
Well, my dad would tell you, oh, I don't care. They didn't care if you threw 170 pitches. You finished the game, whether you were getting shelled or whether you were throwing a no-hitter. You stayed in the game. I mean, now you got specialty.
Right.
You got guys that only come in for left-handed hitters and guys that only come in if this guy can't hit a curveball. I mean, it's unbelievable shit that it's coming up with. But though there is one name on here that I want to let you take the floor on because, as we all know, you are the diehard Red Sox guy. Who's the famous 49er from the Red Sox?
The old knuckleballer, Tim Wakefield. Oh man, Tim Wakefield, man, what he was just awesome. Consummate professional, always out there, just doing his thing, and you never knew what you were going to get. You were either going to get unbelievable Tim Wakefield, who was going to give you 8 shutout innings, or you were going to get the Tim Wakefield that gave up 6 in the first 2 innings and just gets rocked. I mean, he was so much fun to watch. To see that ball, I don't know how to throw a knuckleball. I don't. But to see that thing just like dance and just watch these hard hitters just swing as hard as they can and just miss was always so much fun. But it was always such an anxious time when he'd take them out because, like I said, you just never knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, no, my dad threw a knuckleball, and it's amazing. My dad would tell me the day of the game that he was pitching whether or not he was going to be throwing a knuckle. He would say, "Is it a good knuckleball day or not?" And you know why? It's because your fingernails are what actually grip the ball when you throw the knuckleball. So my dad, if his fingernails were right, if he clipped them the right time or whatever, that's what puts the movement on the knuckleball. One of these days, we got to get my dad on this podcast for an interview and talk about sports, talk about baseball with him. And dude, he always say, "No, the nails aren't right today," and it would just be the fucking 2-seamer, the slider. But if the nails were right, he'd mix in a knuckleball. And I still think because most people don't understand calls in baseball to the extent of like where I grew up in dugouts, right? So whenever my dad would be warming up before the game, so pretend my hand, if you're watching on YouTube, is his glove. My dad was a lefty, so my right hand was his glove hand, right? And he'd make motions like this, or like this, or like this, right? So whenever you would take your hand like a cat and just go like this, that means that means the catcher knew it was the knuckleball that was coming.
Really?
Oh my God. And catchers, you know who hates knuckleballers the most? Catchers hate knuckleballers because you really never know where the ball's going to go. And yes, if it's working and you're getting strikeouts and guys are swinging and missing, it's great. But the catcher, so many passed balls happen because of knuckleballs.
Do you remember the Red Sox? Wakefield was in a bad spot, and they brought Doug Mirabelli back. He was part of the team. I forget which team he was, and they had let him go. And Wakefield was having a hard time, so they went and I think they traded for him to get Doug Mirabelli back because he was the only one that could really catch Wakefield and made him feel confident behind the plate. Like, it's wild.
Knuckleballers have their own catcher. They always do. It's tremendous stuff. But anyways, But as we all know, the biggest moment of Wakefield's career is actually a terrible moment. Outside, he did get his World Series the following year, but I'll never forget 2003. Wakefield coming in extra innings out of the bullpen, and Aaron Boone in Game 7. I mean, just unbelievable.
You know what, though? I mean, he gave so many good innings that night.
Yeah, he did.
He came in, and I think he pitched 4 or 5 innings of just nobody even touched him until that Aaron Boone it still gave me chills thinking about that moment because that was just such a gut wrenching moment. But I think that is the pitch that he will probably always be remembered for.
Yeah, even though we did get the World Series the next year, that was the pitch that he's most well known for. Unfortunately, or notorious for is the Aaron Boone shot. To continue with the pitching trend, we got one more pitcher I put on here. Another great pitcher who ended up getting a big contract, and I'm pretty sure I don't know if he ever won a Cy Young or not, but Jake Arrieta, he's more recent, but he also wore 49. Arrieta pitched for the Cubs and the Phillies. And then flipping it to football, this is an old one, but he's a Hall of Famer. Wide receiver, he played wide receiver and running back Bobby Mitchell back in the late 50s. Safety Dennis Smith was a 6-time Pro Bowler. And then the current player who's actually going to get a big payday coming up here once the offseason is Tremaine Edmonds, the linebacker for Buffalo. I don't believe Buffalo is going to retain him. He's a stud. He's a tackling machine. He gets behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to get a massive contract. And then just for you, Dave, I threw a hockey name in here because you like to throw hockey in here. And I have no idea who this is, but apparently he won the Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues a few years ago. And he was the most famous 49 in hockey, Ivan Barbashev. Once again,
hockey players. He's from Russia?
Hockey players have the best names, don't they? They really do. They have the best names.
Barbashev.
Better than if do I want to shave with some Barbasol? That's what it makes me think, right? Oh man. But anyway, so we are recording on Sunday, but this podcast does get released on Valentine's Day this year, Dave. So this podcast is released Tuesday morning. So today's Bible verse, very simple. Comes from John chapter 15, verse 12. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. The very straightforward Bible verse today ties into Valentine's Day, the Valentine's Day theme. But before we get into Valentine's Day, you did mention we are recording today on Sunday. We're not going to know who wins the Super Bowl until later today. Who is your pick? Like, what do you think? Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Chiefs.
Chiefs? Any reasoning or just Chiefs?
The way Patrick Mahomes went out and willed his team to victory in the AFC Championship on a high ankle sprain, I just don't know how. I don't know how people can bet against him. I know the Eagles are favored.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really know why. The Eagles had an easier schedule than most teams in the NFL this year. I just don't think. I honestly just don't think they're that good. Now, the Tuesday morning, I'm either going to be really happy or really angry because I really don't want the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl just because of the NFC East rivalry, and I don't want to listen to Fly Eagles Fly and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
So go Chiefs, but I'm on the Mahomes bandwagon. I know they've got injuries, but put Kelsey out there, put Mahomes out there. I'm taking the Chiefs. You?
Well, I think if you line up the 53-man rosters outside of tight end and quarterback, and maybe one spot on the defensive tackle, Chris Jones, I think it's not even close. I think the Eagles are the superior team, 1 through 53. But the big but, the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and the Eagles do not. And it is a quarterback league. And once again, I could be wrong. I don't want to root for either team because the Chiefs beat us in the Super Bowl a few years ago and the Eagles just beat us 2 weeks ago in the NFC Championship. I don't want to win. I don't want to root for either team. I'm not going to root for either team. But if I'm making a pick, I'm going to take the team with the better quarterback, and he's the better quarterback by a mile. And nothing against Jalen Hurts. He's had an MVP caliber season, great system, great coach. He's been a winner since he went to Alabama, to Oklahoma, to the Eagles. The guy's a stud. But there's no one in the NFL right now that is on Patrick Mahomes' level as quarterback. Not even close. Yeah. Josh Allen, you want to say Joe Burrow. Those guys are tier 2 guys for me because Patrick Mahomes is in tier 1 all by himself. That's how good he is. So yeah. I'll take the team with the better quarterback, and the better quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. But I do think we're going to have a hell of a football game. I think it will be a good game, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs. So
all right, Chiefs.
But our Super Bowl picks are in. They're locked in. They are now recorded, so we can't go back and say, "Hey, I told you I said the Eagles." No, we both picked the Chiefs. I don't know if that's good or bad. Sorry, Patrick, if you don't hang on for the win. But anyways, it's Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to everyone listening today. That when this episode gets released, I said it's Valentine's Day. So, but I have a very cruel thing to say about Valentine's Day. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Andy and I don't exchange gifts. We don't exchange gifts for any holidays. In general, we just don't do it. But let's face it, Valentine's Day is a Hallmark holiday. It is just a way to drive up sales on candy and cards and flowers and jewelry, stuffed animals, whatever the hell you want to whatever you buy on Valentine's Day. I'm not a fan of it, but I do think it's awesome when kids get Valentine's at school. I remember being a kid in school and you hand them out to the little boys and little girls and, oh man, a girl gave me a Valentine's, or you give one to the girl that you like or whatever. And, I think that part of Valentine's Day is cool. I think it's really cool for kids. Yeah. But in terms of adults, it's just a money suck, and it's a day where restaurants get bloated with people and chocolate and all that other BS. But and when you're on 75 hard, who gives a shit?
Yeah, it doesn't really make it that enjoyable. You can't go out and share a nice dessert or something like that. So yeah, I'm with you there. It one of the other things too is you go to a restaurant, most of the times they have prefix menus. It's like New Year's Eve, so you can't even get what you want to get at a restaurant. It sucks. Valentine's Day is just I'm with you. It's a money grab. I get it. I get why they do it, but it's a total money grab. I know Casey and I, we don't really celebrate. We'll exchange cards. We'll either make a card or write a card up to each other, and that's really about it. We'll make a nice dinner at home. I think last year we did surf and turf. We might do the same this year. Get a couple lobster tails, throw them on the Traeger with a little filet mignon or something, and call it Valentine's Day. Spend it with the kids, which is the majority of our time anyway. But it is fun. Kids have been doing their Valentines, have been getting them ready to take to school, which is awesome. It's cool to see them write them all out themselves now. They don't need any help and kind of pack their stuff. So, that's the best part of it.
I think for me, and well, first of all, we can't mention Valentine's Day without Reese's Peanut Butter Heart. It's like you said. I love what you put in the show notes. It is not the egg. It's not a peanut butter egg, which are the best, but a peanut butter heart. Anything Reese's is the best. Flat out, there's no doubt about it. It's the best candy for Halloween. It's the best candy for Easter. You name it, it's the best for all of them. You can't mention Valentine without some candy. You know what candy I dislike is those stupid little hearts. Those stupid little hearts that say "Be mine" or whatever. Those
it's crappy, like eating chalk.
Yeah, a little chalk cube that all the kids get these days.
By the way, the Valentine's Day is the lead up here. We've got Easter right around the corner. So the peanut butter eggs are coming fast and furious. And oh, by the way, we're not on 75 hard anymore at that point. So there might be an egg in my future.
There's always a bag or two of Reese's peanut butter eggs in my freezer. Are you kidding me? Let's be real. They are tremendous. They're the best. But like you said, right around the corner we have 75 hard ending. Easter will be a fun time for Valentine's Day. But, it is Valentine's Day. For me, though, I do want to bring it up to all the dads out there and give me some feedback, dads that have teenage daughters. Like, that's what I'm starting to kind of get worried about a little bit, because Madison's 12, going on 13. Boys will be like, I remember being a 13-year-old boy. I don't know about you. So I'm terrified of that part coming up soon enough. Like, listen, Madison's going to be in 8th grade here come August. 8th grade, I had a girlfriend in 8th grade. I'm not going to let her have a boyfriend in 8th grade, but I had a girlfriend in 8th grade. So,
maybe you just won't know about her boyfriend in 8th grade.
Give me your thoughts, Dave. As a parent, you have Caroline and Kendall are the same age. What are your thoughts of that whole situation? Like 13-year-old, I don't know. I'm very much a psychopath. So I pity the fool for any boy who well, first of all, my kids don't have cell phones, so I don't got to worry about the sneaky texts and all that other bullshit that kids do these days.
Yeah, no, that part is good. Not having the phone. I can't believe how many, we've talked about this before. I can't believe how many kids have phones at this young age, even at Kendall's age. I mean, some of her friends have it, which is astonishing to me. But on the whole dating thing, I mean, listen, it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen, but it's going to happen. Yeah. You just hope that you raise your kid in a way that they understand the right things to do, how to, treat themselves, things like that, and make sure that they're respecting themselves. And are open and honest with you too, right? Like, I think the biggest thing is, like, you don't want your girls to be, have boyfriends that they don't tell you about. You want to know what's going on. And I think that's important. So, it's going to happen. I'm dreading it. I still got a few years before I hit that mark, thankfully. With Bryce though, he's coming back. He's getting into the thing. Yeah, man. He hasn't met as many kids here, but in Arizona, I mean, he was always talking about the girls in school. I'm like, dude.
Bryce is a little stud muffin, dude. He's a stud muffin. Well, listen, when you're 6 years old and you wear cutoffs to school every day like Bryce does, and you're blonde and your blue eyes, like, dude, you're just like, dude, Bryce has always got all the little girls. And he's a little schmoozer too, Bryce.
Yeah, he is.
Especially with the girls, with the teachers. Are you kidding me, dude? Bryce is everyone's best friend. But
yeah, he really is.
I mean, this was not a topic that we were going to discuss today. But hey, what the hell? We're on the topic of it. Yeah, I'm terrified. I know how mature Madison is, so that is one thing that I'm not really all that worried about. She's very mature. She's a very mature, 12 and a half year old. I've said on the podcast, I'm so proud of that girl. She just knows, she's just good, man. School's good. Just respect. She respects her elders. I mean, she's good. She's good. She's buttoned up. She's rock solid all the way around. Now, if we could just find some pants that'll fit her, because I was telling Dave, dude, the kid's grown almost 3 inches in the last 6 months. I mean, it's like the poor girl's skinny as a rail. So she's thin. She gets, but she literally has grown almost 3 inches in 6 months. So none of the pants fit her. If they fit her waist, they're capris. And if they fit her length, then they're for a fat person. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. Man.
That's so funny. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the girls. It's been so long since I've seen them. Hopefully we've been talking about linking up on a little vacation trip. So maybe we can make that happen because I do miss them all very, very much.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Hopefully we're not going to give any spoilers out yet, but hopefully we get an opportunity to do that. That would be nice here in the next, month or so. But anyways, let's turn our attention to today's topic.
20 minutes in.
20 minutes in. Well, we've already had a topic now, dating, my 12-year-old dating. We've gone through a lot of stuff already, number 49s in the Bible and Valentine's Day and all that good stuff. But today's main topic that I wanted to talk about, I don't know about Dave, I've had some conversations with you lately about this, and it's something that I've really been thinking about a lot lately. And it's a very broad topic. There's so many things that can fall underneath this blanket statement. But a couple things I want to focus on. There's a couple things I want to focus on the topic. And the topic today is reaching your limit. And is it even possible, to reach your limit, no matter what it is? Can you reach your true potential? Can you reach your limit? If you get to a certain place, have you quote unquote made it, right? It's a very broad topic. And I want to kind of, I don't know. It could be, like I said, it could be a physical topic. It could be career-wise, whatever you want it to be. But I think for being a blanket statement, I think it's got a pretty straightforward answer. And the answer is no. I don't think you ever can reach your true limit or your true potential or true greatness, right? I mean, I think for some, maybe most people, maybe they feel they have a limit, Dave, on what they can. From a physical standpoint, let's jump into from a physical side, from an exercise side, a health side. Some people physically will say, I've reached my limit. I physically can't do anymore. And that's I call BS on that. I think you can always do more. I think you can always, walk one more step or run one more mile or lift 5 more pounds or swim one more lap or do 5 more miles on the bike, But I think the true meaning of it, it has to be from inside but you have to believe it, right? Because anybody can just say, yeah, dude, I ran a 7-minute mile. That was my goal. That's my limit. But really, you probably could run a 6:59. You could run a 6:55, right? Those are perceived limits that when you get this rush, this euphoric feeling that you reached a goal, but you probably could have been more. And I was listening to Chad and Chili's podcast last week, and they brought it up, all the great athletes of the world, the Michael Jordans of the world, the Kobe Bryants of the world, the lesser known athletes, the great ultra runners that I follow, those guys, when they cross the finish line, when they win the race, yeah, they won the race, right? The accolade comes with you won the race, but they're always saying, fuck, I could have been faster, right? I could have done better. I could have transitioned better out of that. You know what I mean? My nutrition could have been better. And, from a physical standpoint for me, so this is what I've been talking about, Dave, and to make this make sense for a lot of people, for me, right? So everybody knows Dave and I have our daily standard. We live it every day. We don't miss a day. We get our reps in. For me, I get my miles in. Now, I got to run at least 5 miles a day, every day. But this past week, after listening to that topic with Chad and Chili about pushing your perceived limits and you ever really made it, for me, this past week, I upped my mileage. Every day was a minimum of 5.5. I threw a 10K in there twice. For those that know what a 10K is, 6.2. On Thursday of last week, I ran 7.25. So that just proves that, yeah, man, I'm doing my standard, right? My minimum every day. But I was even able to push myself. So from a standard 35 to 37 mile week, I bumped it up to almost 45, and it was totally fine. So that's an example of how you can push. And then, of course, the number one excuse, Dave, well, I don't have time. I can't do it. You have this time. Guess what? Get up earlier. If you're going to add an extra mile to your run, wake up 10 minutes earlier. If you're going to add an extra lap in the pool, wake up 10. It's all perceived limitations in your mind. And just because you feel you get to a certain place, that doesn't mean that's the best that you can do.
Yeah, I completely agree. And there's a couple of books that are great on this. One of them, well, actually, we've touched on both of them on the show. One of them is Ed Milet's The Power of One More, saying you can always do one more, right? So if you're out on a run, you could do one more mile, or you could even go one more telephone pole or one more intersection. to always push yourself to go just a little bit further. You can do one more rep. You can do one more phone call. You can do all those different things in every area of your life. And when you add them up over time, they make huge gains in your life. Okay. And the other one, when you touched on this the other day with me, when we were talking about what we want to do on the show, I'm rereading Can't Hurt Me right now by Goggins. And if there's anything that shows you that you can't actually attain what your body's fully capable of, it's reading that book. Mm-hmm. Because when you read what he's gone through, the things that have seemed insurmountable that he's pushed through in events, whether it be an ultra race or his time in Buds, you realize what your body and your mind can actually handle together. But it's all about your mind. Your body can handle so many things. And I realized that about myself, man. I'm being a total bitch. Like in what Goggins would say, I'm just being a bitch. And it's true. I mean, the other day we went for a run, and Casey and I went, and I normally run a 5K a day. That's normally what I try and do. But I pushed it and I went 4.25. And it was fantastic. And I sprinted the last quarter mile. Sprinted it after running, and I was like, wow, I felt so good, so alive after doing that. So it is like, you can push yourself. So where can you find those moments in your day that you can push yourself, whether it is in your fitness or it's in your career? Maybe it's your business. You got to make another phone call or try and get somebody on the phone to get a sale. Or maybe it's putting in a little extra work at the office so that you can finalize a project and get it done with. Maybe it's pushing yourself on the financial side. You're going to save a little bit more this month. I'm going to save $100 more this month than I saved last month. Wherever it is, you can always push yourself to do a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I like that you brought up the career aspect. Now, you and I are in two totally different careers. I work from a commission-based sales aspect career, and you are in I would say it's more stable, right? Your income, you know what your income is every month. So let me talk to the commission-based people that are out there right now. Because you mentioned make one more phone call, right? Or send one more email. And it couldn't be more true. And your perceived limits are just that. Like, you think, I can only sell 10 cars, or I can only do 4 loans, or I can only sell 8 copies, whatever the hell it is. Like, you have to internally find a way to light that fire. And then maybe sometimes that's seeing what someone else that you strive to be, maybe it's just glancing at somebody else's numbers in your office or in your field, in your industry, and being like, dude, I guarantee you that guy outworks me, right? I guarantee you that guy makes the extra phone call, sends the extra email, sends the extra text, makes the extra stop at an office, at at whatever, like I said, whatever your field is. That guy's doing one more. Goggins said it perfectly in that podcast. You can always go one more step. I don't know if you can go 2, but you can always go one more step. Right? You can always do one more thing in your office, and I just think that's pretty important. And I think it's not, I don't think it's very hard to tie into finances. I mean, you would know better than me, but like you said, save $5 more a week or whatever the case may be.
One more no spend day.
Yeah.
That's it. One more no spend day and you've saved money. You can do it everywhere. In every area of your life, you can push yourself to do a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just kind of makes, we never are where we, maybe you want to make more money, right? Like everyone says, oh, I finally made, $50,000 a year or $75,000 a year or $200,000 a year or $1 million, or whatever it is. There's no cap on what you can and cannot do in your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you can't run, then you can walk. If you can't walk, you can bike. There's always more that you can do. And the other thing I want to tie is health, because I've also been a huge, really, 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 really fine tuning in diet and those things as of late, especially this round of 75 hard. And that's the other thing where I think you get the most pushback from people. Or maybe you don't get the most pushback, but you get the most failure or they fall off the wagon, however you want to say it. And it comes to diet. You can always eat one more healthy meal. You can always skip going through the drive-through. That's how I think you can tie it into diet. You can always plan one more meal or prep one more meal, because just doing those extra little steps, you can't, because a lot of people, my diet's as good as it can be. I got to get up early. I got to get to the office. I don't have time to make lunch. The whole 9 yards that you're going to hear from all the excuse makers when it comes to diet. But you have everything inside you to make the meal, skip the drive-through, skip the going out to dinner, especially on Valentine's Day.
True.
You have all the power. Prep the meals at home. Stay up 10 extra minutes before you go to bed to prep next day's meal. If you are not a morning person, do it at night, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's just so many things. Make your kids lunch instead of just giving them a $5 bill and sending them out the door for school lunch. In every aspect of your life, you can do one more. You can give more. You'll never achieve, what you're never going to reach a limit. I like the word limit there. You're never going to reach that limit until, and I truly believe it's your whole life, no matter what age you are, whether you're 10 or you're 20 or you're 70, you're never going to reach your limit until you're in the ground. That's when you reach your limit, when you're dead.
Well, because most of the time, you set goals, you do things, you reach it.
Yeah.
Well, then you need to reevaluate. Where can I go from here?
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go? I can continue to push it. Continue to push it. So yeah, it is one of those things that you'll work on for your entire life.
Yeah. And I know you and I are in agreement here. I'm nowhere near my limits. And I just found out just physically this week, because I'm not just running 7 miles or 6 miles or 5 miles, whatever it is every day. That's only my first workout. That's not including reps. That's not including a second workout for 75 hard. And I'm pushing my body. There's no excuse why anybody else can't push theirs to up the ante a little bit, And yeah. I think Cam Hanes has a great quote that he says all the time. Your body will give you what you ask of it. Okay. Whether that is asking for more mileage, asking for more work, or asking for less, your body will give you what you ask of it. If you want to be a lazy piece of shit, your body's going to give you lazy piece of shit feelings. If you want to be a freaking crazy pro athlete, then your body's going to give you a crazy pro athlete. It gives you what you ask of it every time. Yep. 100 times out of 100, it gives you what you ask of it.
Yeah, it's true. I'm trying to even do this with the kids now. I mean, Kendall started running with me this past week, which has been awesome. She's gone out a few times, and it's been great. And as we're running, I'm like, "How are you feeling?" She starts getting tired, and I'm like, "All right, can you make it up to that next stop sign?" Yep, I can make it to the stop sign. So we go and we run to the stop sign. I'm like, "How you feel?" I check in. "How you feeling now?" "Oh, I'm okay." "Can you make it to the turn?" "I can make it to the turn." So we keep going. It's just like pushing a little bit more. And sure enough, she can do it. And she realizes that in herself. And I think, inserting that into your kids' lives, making it a fundamental piece of who they are and what they do and how they live their life, it's gonna make their life so much better if you can teach that now.
Yeah, no, you're spot on with that. I mean, I push the girls all the time. I mean, I'm probably a bit harsh when it comes to fitness with the kids. Like, I'll be outside running, and Madison will come outside and be like, why aren't your running shoes on? I don't really care what you're doing. Are you in the middle of something? Why aren't you running shoes on? You see me out here running laps. Why aren't you out here running laps with me? I mean, I'm brutal with that stuff. It's just, I'm a product of my system. My dad was the same way with me. So maybe I could be a bit harsh, but I'm teaching them life skills. You're teaching Kendall life skills when, It's funny that you said, run to the stop sign, run to the telephone pole, because it instantly brings back memories of Rancho Vistoso Boulevard, because I've run Rancho Vistoso 10,000 times in my life. And when I would be 6, 8, 10 miles into a long run coming up Rancho, I would count telephone poles all the time. All right.
Yeah.
I count them in sets of 5. I forgot what the number is, but if you start on East Innovation and go up the east around to where we lived, I forgot how many telephone poles there was, but I used to count them in sets of 5. All right, get to the next 5. All right. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3. Every single time. And you churn it out. You don't, because it takes your mind away from all the bullshit. I'm tired. I want to walk. It takes your mind away from that. And then you know what? Shit, you've crested Rancho Vistoso. Now you're cruising down to Moore, and you got nice downhill home. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's so nice. So, man, I can't wait to run there again one day. I'm so excited to run Rancho Vistoso again. Just got all excited about it. But anyways, guys, so listen, we never reach our perceived limits. All right. The limits are just that. They're limits in your mind. Get out of your own head. Go, Ed Milet says go and more. There's so many different ways to put it. Just give more, whatever it is in every aspect of your life. But I want to turn to today's book recommendation, because Dave called me a hippie the other day, and I was very offended when he called me a hippie the other day. He doesn't think that I was going to say that today on the show. But Dave goes, I don't know
care. You are a hippie.
I don't know what's up
with hippie right now.
With your hippie bullshit. Okay. I guess it's whatever. It is what it is. But the book that I want to talk about today, and I'm going to spend a couple minutes on this book, and I want everyone to read it because it's going to change your mind. It's called The Rain Barrel Effect. Okay. If everyone can see that, by Dr. Stephen Cabral. Okay. How a 6,000-year-old secret holds the answer to finally getting well, losing weight, and feeling alive again. No, I don't need to lose weight. That's not why I got this book. This book was passed on to me from my beautiful wife. And Dean has changed her life drastically in the last, 4 or 5 months in terms of, diet and things of that nature, really digging and doing the research. And so that's why I said, I'm going to read this book and I want everyone to read it too. Okay. Because this country is so pathetic. It really is. That's the opening line that I want everybody to know about our country. We literally are 37th out of 37 measurable countries in the world in terms of health. We are dead last. We are absolutely pathetic at health. But you know what we do in this country? We spend more money on healthcare and big pharmaceutical companies than any other country in the world. But for some fucking reason, we're dead last in health. And that pisses me off. We spend more money, Dave, on freaking big pharma and healthcare than any other country in the world. But somehow, strangely, but not strangely enough, every year we get sicker. We become sicker and sicker and sicker as a nation every year. Okay? Alzheimer's, digestive disorders, autoimmune diseases, diabetes, cancers, you name it. It is absolutely disgusting. And it all starts with everything that's in our freaking lives every day. It starts with absolutely everything. And this book breaks down toxins, things that you don't even realize every day in your life that you're doing. And one of the first things that he talks about is the 10 toxins, the big 10 toxins that are in the world that are in your everyday life that you don't think about, that completely screw you over every fucking day of your life. And I want everyone to read it, but I'm going to run down the top 10 toxins to you guys really fast. And then let you guys be the judge and think about how much these are in your life. I don't have them written down because I want to read them right out of the book for you. Okay. And I just want you to stop and think as I'm reading this, go get this book and read it. You can change your life like it's nobody's business. Okay. Toxic enemy number 1 in our country is heavy metals. Heavy metals are in everything that you don't think they're in. From your deodorant, they are absolutely everywhere in your life. Heavy metals, okay? Number 2, and let me get through these pages because so I want you to get this book because it breaks down the metals and where they are in your diet and where they are everywhere in your life and how they affect you. From the affect the way you sleep, to the way you wake up, to the way you go to the bathroom. Number 2, this one shouldn't be a surprise. Synthetic food. Okay, everything is ultra processed nowadays. Everything we eat is shit. And if you cannot recreate the food that is in your pantry, if you can't recreate it with the ingredients that's in your kitchen, then it's considered ultra processed and it's shit for you. Okay. Number 3, pesticides and DDT that are everywhere in the world, from the fruit that you buy to the vegetables that you buy and all that good stuff. Number 4, tap water. All right. If you live in a city, your tap water's killing you every day. Okay. You don't know what they put in it. They shove it with fluoride and everything else. Toxic enemy number 5, which this is a self-inflicted one, I'd say. This is stress. That's a self-inflicted wound, which is stress because a lot of our stress is on us. Number 6, this is the big one that I've been talking to Dave about lately, and this is why he calls me a hippie. Electrosmog, okay? This computer that we're talking to, our phones that we keep in our freaking pockets every day, the iPads that our kids play on every day, the 5G everything, okay? We need to get away from our screens. It's pathetic what it's doing to us. We sleep worse at night. We're fat as a nation because of our phones. All right? Being homesick, skincare products. Let's see here. I'll keep going. There's only 2 left on the list. Pharmaceutical companies, number 1. And that's primarily the amount of shots they give you your whole life. Okay? The vaccines that you start as a young kid. And then the last thing is gut bugs because we eat so unhealthy. Okay? Those are the top 10 toxins. But this book is just insane. Okay? The research that he puts into this book is absolutely insane. And it's actually quite scary. You know, pretty much 1 in 3 of us is going to end up with cancer in our life if we continue down the path that we are. 1 in 3 will have cancer. 1 in 3 will have heart disease. I picked this book today because we want you to live a full force life. We want you all in. And I want you to just take a fucking look at your life from a 20,000 foot view, and just, you don't need to change it all in one day, because Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to change it one day, but make minor tweaks. Okay. But this book, The Rain Barrel Effect, is going to, if it does anything for you, it's going to make you fucking think a little bit. It's going to slow you down and make you think a little bit. And you're going to start seeing little things that tie together, and you're like, holy smokes, dude, really? Like, that's because of that? So, not to be a Debbie Downer, I'm just a nutcase, and I want you all to read The Rain Barrel Effect so you understand, you have a better understanding of your health, because most people don't have any understanding of health in their life. They just know, go to the doctor prescribes you something, and then you think everything's better, instead of reading and researching and doing the work yourself and actually knowing what the fuck is wrong with you and what your body is really like.
Yeah. That sounds like a great one, but I do want to, you didn't give everybody the full picture of why I called you a hippie. You said it was because of electro.
Okay, so
That's not the reason. That's not the reason. The reason is you called me and told me you and Dean and the girls were all walking around barefoot in the dirt.
Yeah, we got grounded.
And you said you should go hold trees.
No, so
just hold tree bark.
So
while you're barefoot.
So EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies are rampant right now in our world because of our cell phones. We literally live on our phones 24/7, 365 days a year. We all have our phones. It's the first thing we look at in the morning. It's the last thing we do before we go to bed. And what happens is these phones and these iPads and these computers, and I'm guilty of it because I literally have a job where I'm on my computer all day. They send radiation through your body all day long. Okay. So you have an electric charge to your body that you would never naturally have if it wasn't for all the technology that we touch every single day. Okay. So when I told Dave the other day, get grounded, you actually literally, just like you can explain the electrical part of what a ground does, right? It takes the charge and it grounds you. It's the same thing. Take your phone out of your pocket and leave it in another room. Go outside barefoot, get grounded with nature. Touch a tree can take out that electrostatic, that radiation that you're getting pumped through your system all day long. So, and there's also a good documentary. I'll give you a documentary to go watch. Watch the documentary called Grounded on Amazon Prime and wherever else you watch videos. It will teach you the overall health benefits of actually just getting. I'm not saying go live in the woods and never take a shower again. I'm just saying every once a day, even if you did it for 5 minutes a day, it would make drastic, positive health changes in your life just by getting grounded once a day. So Dave wants to make fun of me for calling me hippie.
Thanks for the clarity there.
I'm guilty as charged.
Thank you for the clarity.
I'm not a tree hugger.
Guilty
okay.
as charged.
Charged, no pun intended. Okay. But anyways,
hey, so I got one last thing for you. One last thing before we wrap this episode up.
Okay.
So there's a very good probability I may see you very soon.
Potentially.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Yep.
If you could pick one meal to have on a Traeger, what would you pick?
God, you can't do that to me. I want a fucking buffet. But if I was gonna pick one, I'd probably say a tri-tip.
Cool.
If I was gonna say anything, I'd say a tri-tip.
All right.
Because you're not recreating Thanksgiving, so I'd say a tri-tip.
Actually, I do have a turkey.
No,
I did buy a turkey.
I would do a tri-tip.
Okay.
I would do a tri-tip.
All right, good to know. In case something like that were to happen.
Yeah, and secondly, if I was with Madison, I'd say burgers because that was what she would want. But
for sure.
Yeah, but I would say for myself and or a guest, I'd say a tri-tip.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, guys, that's episode 49. Listen, I'm gonna let Dave wrap it up, but push your limits, guys. Go a little bit more.
Yeah, push the limits. Get outside. Make sure you take off your shoes. Run through the dirt. Go hug a tree in Brett's honor. Get yourself grounded. Happy Valentine's Day, Casey. Happy Valentine's Day to you and Andine. Hope you enjoy the day. And as you're listening to this, know I'm either really excited that the Chiefs beat the Eagles, or I'm really disappointed that I'm listening to Eagles fans and flying. Eagles flying. Go live a full force life. We'll see you on episode 50.